stand for the runners, soccer, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros needed an extra inning to beat the Los Angeles Angels 5-4 last night in Anaheim. In the top of the 10th, Jose Altuve scored the go-ahead run on a shallow sacrifice fly by Jake Myers after Angels catcher Logan O'Hoppe couldn't handle the throw at the plate. The Astros and the Angels will continue their series tonight, and it'll be Kaiwei Ting for Houston against Walbert Urania for the Angels. First pitch is set for 8:38 tonight, and you can hear the game on News Talk 98.5 FM and 1520 AM. The San Antonio Spurs took Game 3 in the Garden last night, 115-111 over the New York Knicks. Victor Wembanyama led San Antonio with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Jalen Brunson scored 32 of his own for the Knicks. The finals will stay in New York for Game 4 Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. at MSG. The college football world was buzzing yesterday after a judge ruled Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby eligible to play this season. The NCAA filed an appeal later in the day, but there's no guarantee that the case will be resolved before the season begins. In response, several college athletic directors have publicly criticized the ruling, and reports indicate that some Big 12 schools have even discussed not playing Texas Tech in football this season. And Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be the second game in a row in Sin City, with the Golden Knights holding a 2-1 lead over the Hurricanes. Carolina is a 1.5 goal favorite over Vegas, and puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown, ESPN 1037 in Lafayette, 1041 in Lake Charles. We are anywhere you are with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana Mobile. There we go. We got the right mic. We're playing around with mics. We got a lot going on here in the Beal and Aber studios in Upper Lafayette, so bear with us. But it's a unique edition of the show today. We got a couple things planned for you that are a little bit different than usual, so that is why I'm on a different microphone. If I sound a little different, that is the reason. We are actually scheduled to have a special guest come in, actually the mayor of Lafayette. Pretty exciting to talk about a really cool event that's happening in celebration of the 4th of July, 250 years of America, all that stuff in downtown Lafayette. We're scheduled to get that going right off the bat. Might have to push a little bit. So I think we're going to do a normal opening segment as opposed to what we were planning initially to make sure some schedules work, and hopefully we're able to get to that interview live here in just a few minutes. So with all that being said, NBA Finals Game 3 last night. Absolute scenes in the city of New York. It was incredible to watch. This is easily the most lead up to an NBA Finals game that I've watched in years and years. Like the last time I think I was that invested in the pregame coverage of an NBA Finals game was probably Cleveland and Golden State when LeBron pulled off the 3-1 comeback. Like that was the last time. I was just excited to see like all the media coverage around it being in New York, all the fans, all the chaos. I know like the president being there changed a lot of the logistics of the city, and I know a lot of people were upset about it, that maybe there would have been even a better buzz. But I look at it this way. You're still going to get Game 4, and now all these crazy celebrations you may have had planned for Game 3, do them in Game 4. All the fan meetups, all the watch parties, the city buzzing, everybody walking around. He's not going to be at Game 4. It doesn't sound like the president. So, it's going to be awesome. But it was really, really fun to watch that all play out. I watched the NBA Today yesterday when I got home. Then I watched the Sports Center, which had some live hits over there. Watched a lot of the pregame coverage and then the beginning of the broadcast. Like, it is... And I said at the beginning of these finals, when are the NBA finals going to go back to feeling like they once did? And they have done a great job. A combination of the teams being in there, both being fresh, a lot of excitement around them, Wemby being a superstar in the making. Of course, New York, like I'm the first to tell you, I don't need large market teams to be in there for me to be interested in it. But the Knicks are a little unique. You know, like it is as passionate a fan base, and they have been starving for a while, right? And so no notes really on the presentation of everything. And then there was the actual basketball game. We'll get to that in just a minute. We'll talk about that. We've got our Field of Omaha officially set. I don't know if we're going to talk a ton about it today, but I do have some preview stuff planned for the near future. The World Cup is here, and I've got some special segment imaging. I'm excited to unveil that for you in just a little bit. We're going to talk World Cup definitely tomorrow, but we might mix it in today, at least kind of give some initial thoughts on what's going on there, because it's going to be the most soccer I ever talk on this show. Guaranteed. There will never, ever be a time where I talk more soccer than when the World Cup comes around, which, you know, this is the first time it's happened while I've had this show, and we'll see. Maybe we'll be still rolling along with this the next time it comes around, but I'm going to talk a lot of soccer. So we'll try and brace ourselves for impact there, given that I'm by no means an expert in the field. We've got that. We've got a lot of stuff going on. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class is getting inducted later this month. Greg Burke always joins us. He does a wonderful job going through the inductees, why the event is so cool, more information if you want to get involved, if you want to go. It's a really cool event in Natchitoches. So that's all coming up. We're going to do that in the second hour, bottom of the second hour, when Greg Burke will join us. So we're excited to have him back, as he usually does join us this time of the year. We've got audio as well. So I'll recap the finals, give my thoughts first. Then we'll hear later on in the show from some of the players, coaches, and participants. Was able to cut some of that audio up, and a couple of good responses. And obviously, Mike Brown wasn't super excited about how things went, so we will play that back for you. We got a lot of stuff to get to. But with all that being said, as we do to start the show each and every day, let's get locked in.
D-Loh is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D-Loh was locked in on the LohDown.
All right, game number 3, NBA Finals, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, the celebrity sightings absolutely everywhere, from the leads of Law & Order SVU, Mariska Hargitay, shout out, to Timothy Chalamet, to Spike Lee, everybody in between, Ben Stiller, a lot of noted Knick fans, then some others, Jay-Z showed up. You had a lot of people in the house, so it was great to see the lead up. As I mentioned, it definitely had the big game feel and everything you'd want in an NBA Finals game. By the way, they did the Finals logo, the Larry O'Brien Trophy underneath the team logos at midcourt, which we've been asking for, right? We want that aura back. I thought it looked a little better on the Knicks court than it did on the Spurs for whatever reason. It wasn't a huge difference. They definitely made the logos of the team smaller, which I imagine was so that you could see the Larry O'Brien a little bit more clearly behind it, but I liked the way it looked on the MSG court for sure. Early in this game, are they going to get the ball down low in the paint to Wembanyama? Are they going to be able to let this guy go to work? And that's exactly what they did. Some nerves, and I thought the broadcast team did a great job like illustrating, man, it was a bit of a clunky start to this thing, and it was kind of cool to see, hey, even NBA players in the finals, you definitely felt the nerve factor of how buzzing that environment was, and it seemed like it was a slow start for both teams because of that. But once the Spurs started being patient with their offense and dumping it down low to Wemby, things started clicking for them. And they hit a bunch of shots earlier. I believe they started 6 of their first 8. They hit a lot of shots early and kind of set the tone for how this game was going to go. Knicks had their answers, though. And look, even when it looks for a stretch in the second quarter, like San Antonio might be able to grab control, here come the Knicks. As they do, they make a big run at it. OG Anunoby was big in this game for them. He has a first big impression in this series, 9 of 13 from the field. And towards the end of that first half, the Knicks are creating turnovers. They're doing their thing, and they find a way to grab the lead. And I thought the Spurs might have blown their opportunity. As this game gets tight and then the Knicks actually take the lead and almost, pull away a little bit, right? They get the lead out to like 6-7 points. I thought to myself, is that a big problem? Did this Spurs team kind of let their opportunity to seize control of this game? Did they let it get away? And they go down 64-57 at the half. And I was thinking to myself, all right, this first 4 minutes of the second half, the third quarter here, are going to be absolutely pivotal. And what the Spurs did to start that second half, Champagnie hits a shot. He hits a 3 afterwards, so he gets 5 quick points. You had the flagrant foul. He hits 1 free throw there. And so a 6-0 run before everybody had even gotten their popcorn and sodas and sat back down for the third quarter, right? Like, everybody's still trying to take selfies with the celebrities that were courtside, and we've already got a 6-0 run, and the Spurs are right back in this thing. Erase that lead and forget about it. Forget there was even a halftime lead. So, hey, you talk about championship DNA. You talk about what championship teams do in these moments. That's what they did. And they found a way to pull that off and did it in a big way to immediately get this thing right back in the mix, 64-63. And from there, we had a basketball game. We continue to go back and forth. I said it before, this series has been backwards in a lot of ways because the old adage is that role players are supposed to play good at home and poorly on the road. Right? The Spurs did not have their role players play great in the first 2 games, and Wemby struggled as well. Well, some of those role players were much better in this one. And, Stephon Castle, role players maybe, look, he's a big part of what the Spurs do, but he was awesome in this game. Tough shot making, too. Like, the degree of difficulty was there. And Wemby played great, too, and you do have to have your stars. And again, the broadcast team, I thought Legler pointed out, like, you needed Wembanyama to set the tone for your Spurs team as a whole, and that's what they did. They had their star set the tone, and Wembanyama did a nice job. He ends up with 32 points in this game. I love the way they attacked him inside. They did get Brunson defensively in a couple more bad matchups. I thought Fox, although he didn't have the greatest shooting night, was a good distributor. And then on the other side of it, look, Josh Hart, by the way, leave him open. That's what's going to happen. They're going to leave him open. He hits a couple of open threes to start this game. He ends up shooting 4 of 7 out there. Like, that's what they needed out of him. But they also had a no-show from Mikal Bridges, who scores 2 points, takes 5 field goals in 29 minutes. And, Bridges is going to be a player that I think a lot of this series, when you look past Brunson and Wemby, and you look at, let's say, Castle/Fox, and then Bridges, how are those guys going to perform? Also, Karl Anthony Towns had arguably outplayed Wembanyama in the first 2 games. He didn't do it in Game 3. He wasn't really able to get to. I thought the Spurs did some nice adjustment things defensively. They did a better job on him, but he only scores 11 points. He missed both his 3-point field goals, didn't get a ton of good looks out there. And ultimately, the Spurs are able to do what it takes down the stretch. A couple big moments there. The Knicks, look, they fell down almost double digits, and then all of a sudden, they start hitting the big threes. Brunson continues to be the clutch player that we all know he is at this point. I don't think there's really any doubts there. He did it again. He had a couple big ones and at least gave them a chance. At least gave them a shot when you talk about the last 2 minutes of this ball game. And the other thing that jumped out, like as you're going down the stretch and you're thinking to yourself, man, San Antonio absolutely cannot let this game get away at this point. We know that. We knew going in. Look, the idea of falling down 3-0 is pretty much your season on the line anyway. What the Spurs were able to do, and what I go back and forth on it because at some points in these fourth quarters of games, I'm like, hey, Wembanyama's the best player on the floor right now. Let's get him involved. Let's get him going. Let's get him some touches. Let's make him make a play. But then on the other hand, I kind of applaud the Spurs for going, hey, we're going to run our offense and we're not going to force the ball into him. We're okay with letting Castle or Dylan Harper or De'Aaron Fox make plays instead of making it be about Wembanyama. And so they kind of did that. I was trying to go through the shot attempts for the Spurs in the last 5 minutes of this game, so to speak. You go just going backwards here. Castle shot free throws at the end. That's when they had the rebound. De'Aaron Fox hits a 2. Dylan Harper misses a jump shot. You had Harper again. Stephon Castle makes a three. Fox misses a shot. Castle misses a shot. Vassell misses a shot. I'm still looking for Wembanyama's last shot attempt of this game. I'm already at the 3.5-minute mark, right? You keep going back. There it is. The last shot attempt Wembanyama took in this ballgame was with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left on the clock. And it's not a criticism because they won the game and they did what they had to do. It is just interesting. Like, it feels like at some point, is San Antonio not comfortable forcing it inside to him? Is San Antonio not comfortable making it about what Wemby can do? Or is New York just making it clear and going, hey, we're not letting the big fella beat us. Figure something else out. And I think that's going to be the ultimate chess match that goes back and forth. And the Knicks were already trailing at this point, so I'm not sitting there saying that New York's going to like all of a sudden change their approach and be like, hey, maybe we need to give a little bit less attention to Wembanyama and do a little bit more with some of the other players. Like, that's not necessarily what I'm saying because they were already trailing, right? So their defensive game plan when they're trailing would have been a lot different if, let's say, it was tied going into the final quarter or tied going into the final 4 minutes, I should say. All in all, though, we had a really, really fascinating Game 3. The Spurs get it done. We talked about the atmosphere in the crowd a lot, and we'll play some audio for you a little later on in the show that suggests what the players thought about it. There was some moments, and like late in that first half, that was, I guess, the big moment where the crowd got the most riled up. But ironically enough, when you have a big run like that and then you go to the half, as I said, that disrupts the momentum. And if you're a believer in momentum in basketball, which I certainly am, the Spurs got the halftime break at like the best possible time because they were teetering right there. And as I already laid out for you, they go on a 6-0 run to start the third quarter, and they kind of erase that deficit. And they use the fact that, let's be honest, people are going to the concession stand and going to the bathroom and taking care of everything else, and then they're getting back to their seats. So you're never going to start the third quarter of a basketball game with like a raucous crowd environment right away. You have to let everybody settle back into it, you know? And so the fact that the Spurs were maybe struggling the most they did all night at the very end of the second quarter, but that they went right into the locker room, had a chance to reset, make some adjustments, and then came out and made that run, I thought that changed the entire momentum of the game. And I thought it was a big reason why San Antonio was able to grab one last night. So we got a backwards series here. Home team has now lost all 3 games. You've got the Knicks taking 2 in San Antonio. Now the Spurs take the first one in New York. It does take a big amount of pressure off the Spurs, right? We know that when you get the first one, you go, all right. But if the Knicks win this next game, if they win Game 4, they're still fully in control of this series. And it's the pivotal Game 4, right? This is just, there's so many moments in a series. In every game, like, I mean, you could do that about Game 3. We just did. We felt like the Spurs had to have it. The Knicks, hey, you know what they did in San Antonio? They bought themselves a mulligan. They've effectively used that mulligan now, right? So they got to get back on track. If they drop Game 4, then, you know, you're going back to a toss-up. And I might even argue, if you go back to Game 4, if the Spurs tie this thing up, headed back to San Antonio for 5, they're really actually in control because now it gets reduced to a best-of-3 series where 2 of the 3 would be played in San Antonio. So I think there's a lot in play here, but really, really good back and forth, good basketball game. I did think the last thought I had, this is unrelated to like the final result down the stretch or anything, but Josh Hart, I like the fire, and it's a finals game. You know what? And in these long playoff series, you're supposed to have a few moments where guys are pushing and shoving and not happy. I guess he did cost the team a little bit, right, because he got called for it. But Cornette was obviously not trying to do anything when he bumps into Hart after that layup was made, and Hart goes down. And then I guess I get that Hart's just mad that he got knocked over, and so he gets up kicking and screaming and shoving. But, like, it was so... And Cornette got up, and you can always tell the body language immediately after and a situation like that is going to tell the entire story. Cornette immediately kind of puts the hands out like, whoa, my bad. Now, he wasn't in a rush to, like, help Hart up and apologize and, you know, make sure he's all right and pat him on the back or anything. But he's being a competitor, and you could tell he kind of had the hands out like, oh, I didn't mean to knock into you. And Hart got up, kind of lost his cool, and look, did that change the complexion? I thought, you know, I didn't mind it. I thought, hey, maybe Hart's trying to get his guys fired up. But at the same time, I was like, there's no way Hart really thought Cornette was trying to knock him over, right? I mean, it was obviously incidental that he went down to grab the ball coming out of the net as Hart was in that spot. And, it's, you know, it's not a contact sport, but there's contact in it. Like, what can I say? Anyway, thought that was a little funny sidebar that came out of last night's game. All right, let's go ahead and do this. We'll take a timeout. As I mentioned before, we do have some different stuff, some exciting things happening here on the show today. We're going to talk about an event that's going to be really cool in downtown Lafayette coming up on the 4th of July. So we'll take a timeout, we'll reset a little bit, and we'll rejoin with that conversation after the break. It's a LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Delta Media Corp is hiring immediately for a media account executive. It's fast-paced here in the radio, television, and digital media industry. We're looking for a confident people person that wants to help businesses grow around them. This is perfect if you're looking for a new challenge with unlimited earning potential. Sales experience is preferred but not required. We'll teach, train, and support the right person. If you're interested in this opportunity, email our general manager, Johnette Cochran. That's JCOCHRAN, J. Cochran, at deltamediacorp.com. Delta Media Corp is an equal opportunity employer.
Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Four Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking, so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net.
Acadiana Legal Services Corporation provides free access to legal services. Their work spans across Louisiana. They're committed to helping eligible individuals navigate legal challenges from family law to public benefits. Their team delivers reliable, high-quality representation. Acadiana Legal Services provides comprehensive benefits and a supportive work environment. Join a team that makes a difference in the lives of people. Apply today at la-law.org/careers or careers@la-law.org.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need, right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Back here on the LohDown, we mentioned it to you, some exciting stuff going on in Lafayette coming up with the holiday season and obviously everything with the 4th of July. And we are honored to have with us the mayor of Lafayette, Monique Blanco-Boulay. Thank you for being here, first off.
Thank you for having me.
So we've got something really exciting, of course. It's not just any ordinary 4th of July, 250 years. So just first tell me about this event that we're going to have and kind of what the idea around it was.
Yeah, so last year we brought back fireworks for the 4th of July to downtown Lafayette. That's a tradition I grew up with. And when I realized we somehow over the years it had just kind of gone away. I was like, whoa, we need something down here. And so we kicked it off last year. This year, extra special with 250 years. Celebrating our country this year has really taken another level of meaning. I'll say that. But bringing the fireworks, inviting all of our families. It's a free event. We're going to have food trucks and face painting. Bring the kids. We're going to honor our veterans. We did that last year. It's a special event. It was different for me to have the veterans in the audience with the opportunity to recognize them. And I don't know, it's just a little bit different, but very, very, very much fun. And we have a great music lineup.
No doubt. And, I was looking through it as well. And, something too about downtown Lafayette is like the perfect place to have these types of events. I mean, I think we've seen it with Festival International. It's a really good place to set up, spread out, but still also kind of have an intimate feel and where everybody can go.
Absolutely. It'll be at the main festival stage downtown, and it's a good place for families. It does have that good downtown feel. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned a big part of this is honoring the veterans, making sure that that's kind of a focus of it. So what's going to kind of go into that element of the entire event?
So we partner with the Acadiana Veterans Alliance, and they come in, and there'll be a special tent with a seating area. We also recognize our veterans. I think when we did that last year, it hit me how special it was. These people give up a part of their life, and they really give it up for service, for the life we have in this country. And it gives us a chance to just stop and recognize them and thank them. I'll say that. So, yeah.
We are speaking with the mayor here, an exciting event going on this, Saturday, July the 4th, of course, still a little bit of ways away, less than a month, though. Park International, downtown Lafayette. It's the Lafayette Stars and Stripes 2026. I understand also, obviously, this is going to be a family-friendly event. There's going to be a lot of stuff for the kids. So just talk about some of the other opportunities and why this is a great place for anybody to come out and hang out.
Yeah, so the music lineup, let me talk about that. DJ Digital will be with us, and as well as Rusty Matoya and the Zydeco Crush. Then, for all the Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, we have Sold Out. That's the name of the band, Sold Out. We'll be doing a tribute to Earth, Wind, and Fire, which I think is going to be fun for some of us older folks, but also young people too. And so definitely come out. The fireworks start at 9:30. Gates open at 5. It's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, I guess lastly, just anywhere, if people want to get more information, anything else that they can find out, make sure that they have everything they need. Where else can they go?
So they can go to our website, LafayetteLA.gov/4th of July.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We've got more coming up here on the LohDown. We'll just take a quick break. We'll be right back. ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros needed an extra inning to beat the Los Angeles Angels 5-4 last night in Anaheim. In the top of the 10th, Jose Altuve scored the go-ahead run on a shallow sacrifice fly by Jake Myers after Angels catcher LohDown couldn't handle the throw at the plate. The Astros and the Angels will continue their series tonight, and it'll be Kaiwei Ting for Houston against Walbert Urania for the Angels. First pitch is set for 8:38 tonight, and you can hear the game on News Talk 98.5 FM and 1520 AM. The San Antonio Spurs took Game 3 in the Garden last night, 115-111 over the New York Knicks. Victor Wembanyama led San Antonio with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Jalen Brunson scored 32 of his own for the Knicks. The finals will stay in New York for Game 4 Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. at MSG. The college football world was buzzing yesterday after a judge ruled Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby eligible to play this season. The NCAA filed an appeal later in the day, but there's no guarantee that the case will be resolved before the season begins. In response, several college athletic directors have publicly criticized the ruling, and reports indicate that some Big 12 schools have even discussed not playing Texas Tech in football this season. And Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be the second game in a row in Sin City, with the Golden Knights holding a 2-1 lead over the Hurricanes. Carolina is a 1.5 goal favorite over Vegas, and puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight.
I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Lafayette Stars and Stripes is back and bigger than ever as America celebrates its 250th anniversary. Join us Friday, July 4th at Park International in downtown Lafayette for a night of patriotic fun. Gates open at 5 p.m. with live music by Sold Out and Rusty Matuire and the Zydeco Crush, along with delicious food trucks, family activities, local vendors, and plenty of surprises. Then, look to the sky for a spectacular fireworks finale at 9:30 p.m. Free admission presented by Lafayette Utility System, LFT Fiber, and Delta Media.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about elite rehab placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-819-8313. 800-819-8313. 800-819-8313. That's 800-819-8313.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Radio Young Professional of the Year, Dawson Iserloh, the host of the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, we are back here on the LohDown. Appreciate Mayor Monique Blanco-Boulay for coming on with us and talking about the exciting event that's happening this 4th of July, as we were telling you, and we'll continue to give you more information about it as it gets closer. The 2026 Lafayette Stars and Stripes, downtown Lafayette Park International, live music, free family fun, kids activities, pop-up shops, food trucks, whole bunch of stuff. You can go to LafayetteLA.gov/4th of July, and Delta Media is proudly partnering with that event as a sponsor. So we've got a lot left to get to. We did a little NBA Finals to start, gave some raw reaction, some thoughts of last night's game. We do have some audio. I think I'm going to save a little bit of that for the start of the second hour. So we'll hear from Victor Wembanyama. We'll hear from Mike Brown, Mitch Johnson when we start the second hour and go back to the finals for game number 3. There were a couple of other things that I saw when this field of 8 came out for Omaha, some unique stuff about it that I just wanted to go through. As I mentioned, I don't know if we're going to do a full blow. I mean, we can at least talk a little bit about these games. We'll be talking about them more. I am, by the way, going to have our friend Barry McKnight back on the show this week, the voice of the Troy Trojans. We talked to him last week ahead of the home Super Regional. I got to get his thoughts on what was a packed house, a stadium that seats 2,500 people that had more than 7,000 in attendance. I mean, come on. They did it right. They found a way. Shout out to the event staff. I know a little bit about event management, not a ton. I know that had to be an absolutely massive undertaking for a lot of people who probably thought they were going to be enjoying some off time at that time of the year. So shout out to Troy for pulling it all together. We're going to talk with Barry about what is set to be a really cool experience for that whole team and him and everybody involved with Troy Athletics. Friends of the Sun Belt Conference, right? So we'll do that again coming up. I think we have him scheduled for Thursday. But think about this, right? We talk a lot about parity in collegiate athletics, okay? And I really do think it's important for there to exist paths for different teams to make waves. I don't think anybody, as much as I can talk about my affinity for dynasties, we've done that a little bit, right? It's still healthy, especially in collegiate athletics, when there are, in FBS football, 130-something programs. In Division I baseball and basketball, you're talking nearly 300 different programs that are playing in Division I. In basketball, it's more than 300 Division I programs. It is important that more than 4 or 5 of them are consistently in the mix to go to Omaha, right? We don't want to see the same 8 teams. And in the NIL era, we've had a lot of conversations about what that would mean for the parity across the top to the bottom, especially in Division I athletics. In baseball, at least as of now, the parity has never been better. We've had 24 teams go to Omaha in the last 3 seasons, right? That makes sense. 8 teams a year. 23 different programs have taken up those 24 slots. There is only one team that's been to Omaha just twice in the last 3 seasons. That is the North Carolina Tar Heels. So the Tar Heels were there in 24. Now they're going again in 26. But other than that, so even your SEC, right? You go, hey, we got 4 SEC teams represented. 5 this year, 4 last year, or 3 last year, 4 the year prior to that. It's been different ones every single time. So think about how many. Now, look, I'm not denying the SEC's relevance within the sport of college baseball. I still do think it is the best conference. I mean, obviously, that's not really all that debatable. But we've had, and I want to count them up, how many different teams we've had represented in Omaha just in the SEC. So you've got Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, and A&M in 24. There's the 4. Last year, you add LSU, Arkansas to the mix. Oh, so we only had 2 SEC teams in Omaha last year. So that's 6. And then this year, you add in Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, and Oklahoma, and Alabama. 11 of the 16 SEC teams have been to Omaha in the last 3 seasons, yet none of them have been more than once. That's really good, I think, for the health of where we're at in this sport, you know? That's showing you the difference. We've had how many different conferences represented, right? You've got the SEC, you've got the ACC, you've got the Sun Belt, you've got the Big 12, you've got the Pac-12 or the Pac-2 or whatever you want to call Oregon State, right? You got the Big 10, you got Murray State in, the Missouri Valley. Then you get the Sun Belt again this year. Like, that's also really good for it. You go back a year prior to that, you had Oral Roberts, right? Prior to the last 3 seasons. You can't say that about the college football playoff, right? Especially when it was when it was 4 teams. You had really 3 conferences that kind of dominated it, 5 that got even an invite to the party, and 1 time where the American crashed it because Cincinnati had all the stars align in 1 season. In the NCAA basketball tournament, now it's different because every conference is represented. So you'd have to, I guess the comparison point would be the Elite 8. And yeah, there's been some different conferences in the Elite 8. You've had the St. Peter's run. You've had, your Loyola Chicago runs, your Gonzagas of the world, who have obviously been a power, and then a lot of SEC, a lot of Big Ten, a lot of ACC, a lot of Big East. I just think it's really, really good to look around at where college baseball is right now and say, there's been a long-winded conversation where you talk about recruits, and I don't think it applies to every recruit. Right now, there's probably a lot of guys out there who just go, hey, I want to make the most money. A lot of guys out there who go, hey, I want a chance to play in the biggest conference. Hey, I want to have a chance to play pro ball. That's my biggest motivation. But there's still, I think, something said. There's a lot of people, if you go down there in their living room, right, and you say, hey, son, you're going to have tell you what, might not be the best chance in the world, but you're going to have a chance to play for a national championship if you come here. You have a chance to go to Omaha if you want. Like, if that's your goal, you got a chance to do it here. And in the college, like if a college football coach was going into a living room as a Sun Belt Conference coach or a Mountain West coach the last few years before the 12-team playoff especially, and saying that to a recruit, they were lying. They were lying. They didn't have a chance to play for a championship, and they knew that. And so what those coaches were probably doing was saying, hey, man, you can come play for a conference championship. You can play for a bowl game. But there's something special about, I think, a lot of college baseball coaches around the country going, hey, maybe you're the coach at St. Mary's, right, who just made this run. You go, hey, you want a shot at Omaha? You're going to have a shot here. Yeah. Not saying it's going to happen, but boy, you're going to have an opportunity to do it. And if we get hot at the right time, we get enough of guys like you to buy in, you can go compete for a national championship. And Troy's going to have the chance to do that this week. Troy's got a great shot to win a few games in Omaha too, man. I'm not saying they will. I think West Virginia's a little more well-rounded than they are, but they got an opportunity to beat the Mountaineers in the first game. Just like when Oral Roberts went. Oral Roberts, was a 4 seed, and they played incredibly competitive baseball. Coastal did win a national championship. Fresno State did win a national championship. So, look, I know I've probably had enough gushing about the love story that I have with college baseball enough in the last few weeks, but it's just another reminder. I think the sport is in a really, really good spot. The sport that maybe isn't quite as healthy, top to bottom, in my opinion, is college football. We got the Brendan Sorsby stuff yesterday that came out that he was eligible. We got a lot of backlash from the Big 12 Conference. We saw, by the way, on the record, official, not like, hey, speculation, I heard this, official documents from the University of Georgia sent out to their athletic departments saying, until further notice, do not schedule Texas Tech in anything. If you have a game with Texas Tech scheduled in the near future, please consult with the athletic department to make sure that we're going to not have to make some changes there. We saw that not only from Georgia, we saw it elsewhere as well. Multiple big-time programs in the country apparently put out memos to their athletic departments, to the people at the baseball office and the basketball office and the volleyball office and the tennis office who make schedules that said, hey, by the way, if you're talking to Texas Tech right now about scheduling a game, hang up the phone. We're no longer interested. That happened yesterday. So, again, sometimes it's an overreaction to news that comes out. In this case, a lot of that stuff seems really legit. People are upset. They are not happy about it. We got some more stuff today. Big 12 Conference. Brett Yormark, I believe, is the Big 12 commissioner. I don't envy the position he's in right now, okay, at all, because I think it's understandable that he's still trying to look for the best interest of the Big 12, and Texas Tech is a member of that conference. But then at the same time, he's got to try and figure out a way to make all the members happy, and all of his members, it seems like, are really, really upset about this. Here's the quote on behalf of Brett Yormark. Quote, we had a thoughtful and productive conversation with our athletic directors today as we continue to work through the broader implications of this situation. It's funny, too, they don't name the situation. I'm just assuming that we're talking about Brendan Sorsby. Many of our athletics directors voiced their opinions. We will continue to have open and honest dialogue amongst the group, and until there is something to report, these conversations will remain within the conference. That's a lot of word salad to say basically they're listening to the complaints, but they don't have anything to tell you yet. And I don't blame them. They're not going to come up with a solution to this problem in 24 hours. So I'm not faulting the statement, but was that statement really necessary? I guess they had to say something. I guess they felt like they had to put something out. So this is what they went ahead and put out. And it's really interesting. As I mentioned before, the Big 12 just had a great run in baseball. West Virginia's headed to Omaha. Kansas hosted a regional. Cincinnati made waves, right? They had their best season in a long time. And yet now they are seemingly just swimming in it. They just played, by the way, the Big 12 just played for a national championship in softball this week. The same team that is implicated by this whole Sorsby situation played for a national title in softball, and they ruffled a lot of feathers along the way and are going to continue to do so. By the way, I did see a number, and I think it is fair, right? We did a lot of talking about the Texas Tech villain stuff with Glasgow and everything like that, and we know Coach Glasgow around here a little bit better. I've had a chance to interview Jerry Glasgow multiple times, you know? They didn't have as high a payroll from the reports that are out there in softball as Texas did, their opponent, but yet it got portrayed this way because I guess the Nigeri Kennedy thing was such a big deal when she was the first $1 million player, and Texas Tech did it in football, and so you're getting some spillover there. Apparently, Texas spent significantly more. I heard like $8 million more than Tech did, I should say. We got a lot of the name Texas is a common denominator in these two programs. So Texas spent more than Tech anyway, and nobody was really talking about them. Everybody was like, yay, they beat the big bad villains. Like they knocked off Cruella de Vil. It's awesome. And in reality, they're the spending giants too, which is why, if you missed it yesterday, I had a conversation with Jay Walker, and Jay brought up what I think is a great point, that a lot of times you'll hear it, and I don't fault fans of the Sun Belt for doing it. They go, hey, we're not a mid-major in baseball. Don't call us that. We're competing with the big boys. And Jay said the term mid-major is not about success or result on the field. It's about the number of resources and the finances you have available to fund these programs. So yes, the Sun Belt is a mid-major, and the Sun Belt should be clamoring at the fact that they are, and not saying, hey, we're not a mid-major, but saying, hey, we are a mid-major, and we still beat a lot of the big-time conferences, even though we don't have the money, and we don't have the resources, and we don't spend the way Texas Tech and Oregon and LSU and Alabama and Texas spend. We still beat them. We go head-to-head with teams in the Big Ten and in the Big 12 and in the SEC that dollar for dollar we can't even keep up with, and yet we still beat them on the field. So you shouldn't be, oh, we're not a mid-major. You should say we are mid-major, and we still have the ability to beat teams that are spending money 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times more than we are. That's incredible. So I really did think that was a very good point made by Jay. You know, and having a team invited to the college football playoff and having teams that make runs in March Madness and obviously having teams in Omaha back-to-back seasons, don't shy away from the fact that it's a mid-major. Say, hey, we're using a fundamental disadvantage, and we're not making it an excuse. We're still turning it into unbelievable successes on the field and going pound for pound with these Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC programs that in reality have way bigger checkbooks than we do. So something to think about as well as we continue to kind of navigate the current happenings in the world of collegiate athletics. All right, let's do this. We've had a little bit of a topsy-turvy first hour. As we mentioned, we'll get back into some kind of normal flow of things in the second hour. I do have a poll question of the day to introduce to you after the break. We'll talk about that a little bit. We've got some other current events and things happening in the world of sports, so we'll get to some of those to close out the first hour. When we get to hour number 2, we'll start things off going back to the NBA Finals. We'll have audio for you. All that and more coming up here on a Tuesday edition of the LohDown. Stay tuned. It's ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Here at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, you know it's Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, and we also know you can't get enough sports in your life. So go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ESPN_SWLA. Turn the bell on so you get notifications whenever new content goes up, like our podcasts, like our shorts, Foots Friday Fury Weekly, and now, of course, the big one, streaming all of our local shows daily, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are live with the Jordy Holtberg Show. We are live with Footnotes. We're live with RP3 and Mesh. And we're live with this show, of course, the LohDown with D-Loh. That is all on the YouTube channel. And remember, if you miss it live, it's now probably the easiest way for you to catch the show if you can't hear it. It's archived every single day. It goes up in the streams category. You can click on it and go to the archived broadcast. You can find any interview. You can find any segment that you may have missed throughout the week. You can catch up on them all at one time, or you can, of course, listen to us live, interact with us. There's a comment section over there on YouTube that you can check us out and give some feedback, ask questions. We'll get to those when they become apparent as well. So that's subscribe to ESPN_SWLA, where you can find us on YouTube.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Bryson Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Bryson Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm. LSBA filing number LA2518447.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Hello, Acadiana. Cajun Carts is your #1 full-service dealer for new, used, and custom golf carts. Perfect for on the job site, the neighborhood, or even out on the green. We are the only authorized dealer of American-made E-Z-GO and Club Car here in Acadiana. For all your service, sales, and mechanical repairs, we got you. So don't wait. Roll on over to CajunCarts.com or stop by our Lafayette location by the Jockey Lot and see why we've been Louisiana's golf cart headquarters since 2003. Cajun Carts. Why walk when you can ride?
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one #1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
You know the routine. Eat, sleep, sports talk, repeat.
Well, up and at 'em. We're here.
Here is more daily sports talk from ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles.
I told you there were a couple other current events, newsworthy type things we needed to go over here before we flip the hour. Coastal Carolina, we speak a lot about the Sun Belt. I just mentioned Coastal as one of my examples of the parody of college baseball. Well, they're looking for a new head coach. So I shouldn't say reported. It wasn't like a reporting job, but I had mentioned on Monday that there were a lot of rumors swirling around. It seemed like it was a done deal that Kevin Schnall was headed to South Carolina. Then all of a sudden we kind of got some like, maybe it's not happening yet. Let's hold on. There's no official announcement. They're still deciding some things. Now we do get the confirmation today. What we expected to have happen has happened. Kevin Schnall is leaving Coastal Carolina to take the job at South Carolina. Of course, the Gamecocks, storied baseball program, won back-to-back national championships. I remember them as the team who won the last title in the old Rosenblatt Stadium and the first title in the new, what is now called Charles Schwab Field, but was it once, TD Ameritrade Field, whatever it was called. They won the last College World Series in the old stadium and the first one in the new stadium, back-to-back titles. It's also the last time a team went back-to-back in college baseball. And as we've said, teams have had a hard time even making the regionals the year after a title, much less winning championships in back-to-back seasons since the Gamecocks pulled it off. They hired Paul Maneri, friend of the show, friend of the station, but that didn't work out at all. So they go out and get Kevin Schnall. Now, it's interesting that Schnall decided to leave because, look, in a lot of sports, Sunbelt coach gets an opportunity to go to the SEC. Yeah, they're not going to blink. Like, you go, hey, it's just different. The money's different. The opportunity, the resources, the chances to compete for a title, all that stuff. Kevin Schnall had a chance to compete for a title at Coastal Carolina. I think he knows that he could have won it. I mean, look, they could have won a title there. They could have beat LSU 2 out of 3 last year. They didn't. LSU was a better team. But, like, it's baseball. The ball bounces a couple funny ways that they could have won that championship, right? He also played at Coastal. It means something to him, you'd think, right? No doubt South Carolina can offer him more money from a salary standpoint, and no doubt it'll be a little easier to recruit there at South Carolina, right? It's still, even though Coastal's very invested in baseball and it's been proven you can win and you can win big there, I do still think like the path of resistance is probably lesser at Carolina. There's a different argument to be made about what it's going to be like to have to go through an SEC gauntlet year in and year out. I know there's some Coastal fans that feel like Schnall kind of took over a train that was already rolling. So how's he going to do it at South Carolina where it's far from rolling right now? It is interesting. Now, what it means for actually this Coastal team, right? They had a very good roster. We know the Cajuns ran into them and actually got the better of them a good number of times down the stretch. A lot of Coastal players have already entered the portal, and now we're starting to see some guys enter with the classic no contact tag, which doesn't mean for sure, but likely has some implications that they might be following their coach to South Carolina. Colby Richardson, Daniel Parker, Jackson Weiner, Walker Mitchell, and Bryce Estep have all entered the portal off of Coastal's roster with DNC tags. Mitchell and Estep for sure were big-time contributors for this team, but clearly they're going to have some rebuilding to do over at Coastal. I've seen Skylar Meade as a name, as a potential Coastal replacement, who is the Troy head coach who just brought them to Omaha. I don't know how, if those, if that interest would be reciprocated at all. But there are a lot of names that are going to be interested. The Coastal baseball job is a very, very good one. And Schnall has now vacated it, so we will see what the Chanticleers do to get that position filled. The poll question of the day, we did also allude to this, but didn't give an actual introduction to it. Do you agree with schools boycotting potentially playing Texas Tech if Brendan Sorsby plays? 69% of you are saying yes. You do support the schools not playing them. 23% don't care. 8% say no. As I said before, I don't know if this is actually feasible. I don't know what the ramifications of it are. Like, I think Brett McMurphy, of course, college football reporter on 3, like, he brought up the idea, what is a team going to do? Forfeit a game to Texas Tech? Like, the Big 12 would have to step in here, okay? Because what a team's going to do? Forfeit them and give them a bunch of wins? Then what does the playoff committee do with that? Like, there's already been a report out there that it's not expected that the committee would, if Sorsby does, let's say, get ruled eligible and he plays and all the games actually happen, it doesn't sound like the committee is going to use that as any sort of hindrance against putting them in the field, right? Like, they're going to get treated like a regular team that won games with their quarterback if he's eligible. But what are these Big 12 teams going to do? Not show up? Okay. So then what does the conference do? Hey, is it a forfeit win for Texas Tech? Is it declared a no contest? Does Texas Tech not get to play a game? The Big 12 would have to make that up. Now, in a non-conference setting, again, I just don't think the team that's got Texas Tech booked for the schedule this year, and I mean, look, it's June. Those schedules are out. We can see who that is that's on the schedule. Those teams, what are they going to do? Just take a loss? As again, it would probably be ruled a forfeit. Abilene Christian, Oregon State, which, by the way, those probably wouldn't be affected because they already said Sorsby's going to be suspended for those games, so he wouldn't play in those. So I imagine Abilene Christian and Oregon State are going to play those games without anything else. They host Sam Houston in a non-conference game, and that's their last one because the Big 12 plays non-conference games now. So, like, is Sam Houston going to be big and bad and forfeit and, not show up and play? I doubt it. So it will have to be a decision made by the Big 12. How are you going to treat this stuff? And your Mark, as we mentioned, is clearly trying to probably be a de-escalator right now. Go, everybody, let's just calm down. Level heads can prevail here. But I don't know. It's got to be a chaotic week in the league offices up there in Big 12 country. Hour 1's complete. As I said before, we'll start off hour number 2. We will have open phone lines. The ESPN hotline's open, but we're also going to play some audio for you from Game 3 press conferences after the NBA Finals. It's the LohDown. Stay tuned.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit VarietyJan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
You thinking trailers? Think Tibbs. Whether you tug it, tow it, or transport it, Tibbs Trailers is your headquarters for enclosed, flatbed, and hydraulic trailers. You won't find a better selection or a better price than right here. We've got the experts to repair or customize your trailer so it'll be ready for whatever you pull it through. Why would you go anywhere else when you can go to Tibbs Trailers? Now we're talking trailers.
Between Scott and Doosan.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag zero-turn lawnmowers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's trial against the NCAA is scheduled for February 8th, 2027, 2 weeks after the College Football National Championship will be played. Yesterday, a judge granted Sorsby a temporary injunction that might clear him to play for the Red Raiders this fall, even after the NCAA declared him ineligible for wagering on college sports. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
If he's allowed to play, this is going to be his last year of high-level football. There's no NFL team that's going to touch this. Not this. I don't give a damn how good he is, because this is a can of worms that you just don't want to open up. I'm shocked that we have this ruling. I can't imagine that this helps Brandon Sorsby in terms of what his ambitions might be in high-level football beyond college.
Big 12 Executive Board will discuss its options in a meeting with Commissioner Brett Yormark Thursday. Hurricanes coach Rod Brindamore won't reveal whether Brandon Bussey or Freddie Anderson will start in goal. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight versus Vegas, 8 Eastern ESPN. Carolina's down 2-1. Longtime Browns left guard Joe Bitonio retiring after 12 NFL seasons.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday as the Spurs look to even the finals, I'll tell you what I need to see from Wemby in Game 4 if they want to get the job done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown. It is ESPN 1037 in Lafayette, 1041 in Lake Charles. Anywhere you are, of course, with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, and now coming at you live on our YouTube channel, ESPN_SWLA as well. We are in the friendly confines of the Beal and Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. We had a great first hour. We had a visit from the mayor. Appreciate her for stopping by, talking about a great event, as we mentioned, the Lafayette Stars and Stripes 2026, a celebration of 250 years that is on the 4th of July. Gates open at 5 p.m. in downtown Lafayette Park International. Fireworks show starts at 9:30. Great to hear from her and have her live and in studio. Coming up in about a half an hour, we've got Greg Burke. He will be joining us to talk Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We have a great class going in Natchitoches later this month. Greg stops by just about once a year. to talk to us about this event, how to get tickets, kind of the class itself, what's so unique about it. It's always really cool. There's always a great diversity of storylines too, right? Usually there's a name or two that everybody's going to recognize, whether it be a Drew Brees last year, the big timers, the headliners. Then there's going to be some high school coaches that you go, man, yeah, that's that name. That's that person who's incredibly successful. If they're from your area, of course, you probably know more about them. And then there's just a great mix of everything in between. So Greg Burke's going to stop by and talk with us in about a half an hour. We are going to go a little bit further into the NBA Finals here. Game number 3 happened last night. The Spurs grab their first of the series. They now trail the Knicks 2-1. So we're going to hear some audio coming up from that matchup. Players and coaches took to the podium after the fact, so we'll do that in just a little bit. But we are going to start this hour by heading out to the ESPN hotline here at ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Remember, if you want to reach us, it's 337-706-0111. We've got Matt on the line. He wants to talk a little Brendan Sorsby. What's going on, Matt?
Man, I'm one of the outliers. I hope he does get to play, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because if for some reason that game day gets to go to a Texas Tech game, I just want to be there with my popcorn to see the signs. It will be priceless. Can you imagine the amount of booze that will rain down all year long on this kid? Be similar to Altuve with Houston after the little scandal. And that wasn't betting on sports. That was just a sign-stealing scandal, right? And he is still getting booed today. Imagine how much this guy will be harassed in every visiting stadium.
Yeah.
One of these things, if he plays, hey, if you're in the Big 12, beat him. That's how you get them back. Beat them in just where they don't even make the playoffs, and the whole thing was for nothing. That's what they need to do.
No, I appreciate the call, Matt. And so I think, first of all, he's rooting for Team Chaos here. And look, I like rooting for Team Chaos a lot. I like enjoying things, watching things that are entertaining. And so, his whole idea of, hey, let him play so that it's just going to be this kind of traveling circus is interesting. Here's what I don't like, the Texas Tech element of it, right? Yeah, Sorsby's a great player. He was the most sought-after quarterback in the portal. I get that. But at what point are you helping yourself by having this? There's just no way this is going to go well. I guess you could just say, hey, we're the big bad villains, and you could think Sorsby's just that dude, and he's just going to tear everybody apart and win every game regardless of all the extra, excitement and vigor that other teams are going to have against him. I guess you could do that, but at what point does Texas Tech sit there and go, this doesn't benefit us either? Let's just say the kid can't play. There's nothing preventing Texas Tech from ruling him ineligible on their own, right? Or kicking him off the team on their own and saying, hey, sorry, it doesn't happen. Now, I don't know how the contract, right? We know a lot of these players now at least have loose contracts written up, and so they paid him a lot of money to go there. Is Texas Tech trying to get out of the money they owe Sorsby? That's another element of this that's really fascinating to me. Sorsby clearly signed something, but as we know, these are not lock and seal traditional professional contracts. Remember the whole Damon Williams debacle that, and coincidentally enough, LSU was also involved with that from Washington and how they were going to try and get out of the contract and then Washington was going to sue and all this stuff. And he went back to Washington. I don't know, I guess all's well that ends well. And I guess they've resolved that relationship and we'll see him take the field in the purple this year, the Washington purple, right? But does Texas Tech owe Sorsby? Are they able to get out of that money? And at this point, why would they want to entertain this, right? Joey McGuire's done a great job with that program. They were in the playoff last year. Ironically enough, and I speculated about this, their quarterback play was their weakness in the playoffs. And down the stretch when they lost games or when they were challenged, they did not play well at the quarterback position. And they went out and tried to address it. They still have guys on their roster. I mean, the guy who came in and played last season at times is still there. Why are you so terrified to let that kid play? I don't understand what, and I want to get his name. I don't want to be speculating on it. And at this point, there's just all this backlash. It seems so obvious to me that there's no real scenario in which Sorsby playing, even if it happens, is a good thing for the Red Raiders, much less the rest of the country, right? Other than maybe what Matt just said, like all the entertainment factor and all the excitement that it's going to bring. And the guy I'm talking about is Will Hammond. Will Hammond came in and played for them last year and played fine. Again, like quarterback play wasn't their biggest strength all season long, but Will Hammond came in. He had 680 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. He started a couple games there when the injuries piled up. Like, you're that desperate to have Sorsby on the field that you can't have Will Hammond step in and be your guy who has, as far as we know, like a clean conscience and a clean record here, and then people wouldn't be like hating every single second of you playing the entire way. So look, as I should also bring up, PR responses, yeah, everybody wants to be proactive and get ahead of stuff, but sometimes, let's be honest, PR reactions, the way the public reacts to something can then affect people's decisions in the future. We see this all the time with companies. They put out a terrible ad campaign. Everybody goes, what was that? And then they backtrack. Some beer companies that you probably know, they had some incidences like that in the past couple of years, right? They maybe didn't quite resonate with their audience quite the way they thought they would, and they had to backtrack on stuff. So Texas Tech might do what I'm saying. They might come out with a statement tomorrow that says, hey, we understand the situation. And look, they'll spin it. They'll say, we think it's in Brendan's best interest, right? In the best interest of him to go ahead and just get treated and do what's right to kind of get himself and his mental health in order. So he's not going to play this season. That's what you got to do. Time heals all wounds. Why, if they did want him to play, why would they not at least say, hey, you know what? He's going to take a step aside. He's going to get some treatment, right? Because they talked about this as like a mental health thing, an addiction thing. Like, I mean, the guy was gambling degenerately, for lack of a better phrase, okay? Say, hey, we're going to get him some help. We're going to get him right. He's not going to play this season. And then readdress this stuff later on. I do have a feeling, just from what we've heard about Tech and their aggressive spending. Remember, they were one of the most aggressive NIL spenders in football last year. They spent all that money on the defensive line. They got great returns from it, right? They turned, some of it ended up being top 5 draft picks in the NFL. They had, David Bailey had an unbelievable season for them, and there was more guys. So they went out and they doubled down. They spent a ton of money on the rest of their roster. So that's the only reason that I could really, if I'm Texas Tech right now and I'm watching this all go down, the boosters and the guys in place who raised all that money and went out and got this portal class, they're sitting there going, man, we're going to waste this great class of players we brought in because we don't have a quarterback again because of this situation. So I guess that's why they're fighting so hard, since they did make that significant investment in the rest of the roster, where they're feeling like, man, we thought we could win a title in 26, 27, and now we're going to have this like gap year again. I guess that also tells you maybe they're not all that high on Will Hammond. I don't know. Hammond, I watched Tech play a lot last year because they were in the news and they were ranked highly. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was that much worse than when they had him not out there. So it just feels like Texas Tech's probably got to go ahead and backtrack on some of this stuff. And that's now, the more I even talk it out, and Matt bringing that up to me and me thinking about it more, I think they probably will come out with a statement. And I think that's when we say, quote unquote, cooler heads will prevail. I think Tech's going to feel all the pressure of everything that went down, and I think they're going to be the ones that back out. I think they're going to say, hey, he's not going to play for us. We're just simply not going to do it like that. Although, I don't know, man, the Cody Campbell dude who runs this stuff, and they seem like they're not also, we joke about LSU clearly being okay with being the villains by hiring the number of characters that they've brought in their coaching positions, right? And Kiffin and Will Wade and Mulkey, and then bringing back Ed O, like, so they don't care about being the villain. They're cool with it. They'll embrace it. Seems like Tech's kind of the same way. The people in power over there are like, yeah, we're the Red Raiders after all. We're gunslingers, and we're gonna bring the heat upon us, and we're gonna be able to stay in the kitchen with it. So maybe that's just what they feel about it as well. It's a very interesting sports story for early June, for sure. No doubt about it. So interesting to see what this is going to turn into. All right, so let's do this. I was going to do Spurs audio now. We went long. I appreciate the call, and it actually ended up kind of being a topic that I wanted to give some more thoughts on, so I appreciate Matt for that. So let's just take an early break now. We'll get to the audio, finals audio after this. We'll get James's thoughts on Game 3. We'll kind of go back and forth a little bit. So we'll do more NBA Finals after the break. Greg Burke joins us at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, Live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. Veterans, are you struggling with chronic back pain, neck issues, or reduced mobility? You're not alone, and you have options. Chiropractic care is part of your VA health benefits, and at Briscoe Chiropractic, we specialize in non-surgical, drug-free solutions to help manage your pain and improve your well-being. We are proud to work with the VA Community Care Network. Let us help you regain your mobility and enjoy the active life you deserve. In addition to the VA Community Care Network, we are also in network with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Aetna. We accept motor vehicle accidents and workman's comp cases.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091, because your spine deserves expert care.
When strength matters, go to ap-fabrication.com. Built with precision, heavy-duty structural aluminum welding using TIG, MIG, and stick to custom metal fabrication designed exactly for your project. Need safety inspections, weld analysis, or 24-hour emergency metal repairs to keep your operation moving? Trust A&P. For quality craftsmanship, visit ap-fabrication.com. That's ap-fabrication.com. You can trust A&P Fabrication and Construction. Built strong, built right.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that? Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Back to more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
I'm sure Victor has numerous sources of motivation, and I don't think any of us are surprised or would expect anything different than a strong performance and him being on his front foot in terms of being in attack mode. For me and the staff, our job is to help the guys. There's no momentum. There's no carryover. We learn what we saw and experienced from the previous game, and now plural. When you get into series, you got to settle in, and the clarity that comes from watching the tape and arguing with your staff and trying to help the guys is the job. And that's what we'll continue to do, and we'll have the same approach in the next 48 hours.
That was San Antonio Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson talking about Wembanyama last night, kind of some of the differences, the approach. I haven't obviously heard a ton of Mitch Johnson pressers like before this finals run and this playoffs run, but I don't know if he's the type of coach that says a whole lot that you can really gauge from. Like, I think he's kind of one of the straight lace. He's going to kind of give you a lot of coach answers. But look, obviously Wembanyama, they were definitely more aggressive inside with him last night, getting him those paint touches early that I talked about in the open to the show today. So this was Mitch on kind of what went into that, on Wembanyama getting to the rim, getting some closer looks, and what led to that.
I think that's every game. I think games take on different personalities and different opportunities can show themselves early, right? We've never told Victor, don't shoot an open three-point shot if you're open, even if it's early in the game or whatnot. But, yeah, we wanted to put pressure on the paint, put pressure on the rim. And it can show itself in a lot of ways. And there's times where, again, he puts pressure on the rim. They tag him with one or two people. They open something else for someone else, or he may be open late in the possession, but we just have to stay a little bit more stubborn and disciplined with trying to attack in that way.
It's also funny to me, like the ref, when they were doing like the reviews, the ref was like, oh yeah, Wemby made contact. And it was like, the refs used the nicknames. That's interesting. You don't think of a ref. Usually it's a little more formal than that. Speaking of Wemby, by the way, he said that playing on the road was something that actually kind of maybe helped to refocus this team.
Yes. At home, it really feels like playing 6 against 5. And here it feels like playing 5 against 6. I agree with Luke. It really shows what teams are made of.
And so he's saying, like, despite what feels like a big disadvantage, you get kind of revealed, you get shown what you're made of, and his team responded. Last one on the Spurs side of things before we switch over to the losers of last night's game, De'Aaron Fox, who's had an important role, and I really do think, like, however far the Spurs get in this series could have a big thing to do with how well Fox plays down the stretch. He said this team was forced to respond, and they did so pretty well.
Every game that we've played, I think we've had the bigger lead in all these games, and the big thing is, how can we sustain the way that we're playing? I think in the first half we've come out, we've hit first. They've responded, and sometimes we didn't respond well, but we kind of kept the games close. But I think tonight we responded well to their run. They had a big run in the first half. They get up at halftime, and we're thinking to ourselves, how can we get back to playing the way that we were playing, with the ball moving, with getting stops, not giving up offensive rebounds, not turning the ball over? And whenever we were able to do that, I think that's why we were able to, one, get back into the game, and two, kind of grow our lead and finish the game off.
So the Spurs get game 3. Let's hear what it sounded like on the losing side. Karl Anthony Towns, of course, did not have nearly as good a game, a big impact in game 3. He gave his thoughts on the Knicks losing for the first time in quite a long time.
I mean, you're always disappointed when you lose. You always want to step on that court and win. It's always about being in the present. And to be in the position that we were going into halftime, to come out in the third the way we did, and to not find a way to win the game, obviously, is disappointing. It's always going to be disappointing to lose. We're competitors, every single one of us in this locker room. We want to win every single time we step on the floor. So, of course, we're going to be disappointed, but we also are professionals and understand that tomorrow we got to get back to work, get back to the drawing board, and get ready for game 4.
A very kind of, calm, measured answer from Cat there. He seems like he's had some time to wind down from it. Mike Brown maybe was a little more high-strung. The head coach of the Knicks, in his post-game pressers, he was not happy with the way the game was officiated. We'll start with Mike Brown's comments on what he thought was a ridiculous foul discrepancy.
I never thought I'd be in the NBA Finals and see a team get 24 free throw attempts in the second half to another team's 8. There were opportunities for fouls to be called to at least try to even the free throws out. Again, maybe we fouled that many times, but they fouled too. And it's not shown at the end of the day on this box score.
Look, I've heard a lot of this in college basketball. I have a problem sometimes when coaches think you're owed free throws, Now, there is, I think, especially in the college game, because I generally think NBA refs are just better than college refs for the most part, which they probably should be, right? There's levels to this. But like the college coach who goes, hey, we only shot 8 free throws and they shot 30 of them. Well, it's like, okay, is that because that team's way better and more physically dominant than you are? Or are there a lot of discrepancies? And so I do think, and there's been times, like I remember some Bob Marlin pressers where it was like, yeah, it felt like the physicality was kind of even on both sides. And yet you look up, especially on road games, and it's like the free throw battle was 34-12, and that doesn't seem fair. But last night, I don't know. I didn't think there was an abundance of bad calls that went against the Knicks from what I noticed. I thought they let them be physical early. You heard the broadcast team reference it a couple times, like, hey, we kind of got to get this dialed in. Like, you better start calling some stuff because you started to get some chippiness, and then they called it a little tighter after that. I don't know. I didn't think it was egregious on either side. Mike Brown was also asked, well, hey, did you talk to the officials about it? What was the feedback you got? And he gave this response.
Yeah, I talked to him. You know, they outshot us 14-3 in the third quarter from the free throw line, and I talked to them, and they said, "Well, this is a foul. This is a foul." I said, "Okay, maybe right, but here are examples where they fouled and it didn't get called." That's the question that I have is that's the question I had with them is, you know, you're right. Maybe we did foul, but they fouled too, and it's like I said, if they do this in Game 4, where it's 24-8 in the second half, it's going to be tough for us to win. Now, there again, I don't want, and it's going to be that because I said it. The story is going to be that, but there are some controllables that we did not do a good job of doing.
It's always interesting to me, like. And at least he's acknowledging it there, but he's like, well, I'm not trying to do this, but I'm also just going to go ahead and do it, you know? Like, he's not blaming it on that, but he's kind of blaming it on that. Now, maybe he's also, look, he's putting some pressure on the officials in Game 4. He's kind of preemptively saying, hey, I'm expecting this to go. It's one of those things, too, I've always thought about this. If I were a coach, right? You know, a lot of us probably have a little book of things, right? If I was a coach, this is something I would do. And I've seen football coaches do this. If I was a football coach, number one, and or basketball coach, I think I would definitely try to have a good relationship with officials. I've worked with some coaches in my, you know, media career so far that clearly probably don't feel that way, and they're a little abrasive with the officials early on in games and often. I think if if you go ahead and get to know some of these officials, especially like, look, if it's your conference or in the NBA, like eventually there's you know, you're going to know these guys to an extent, the guys who've been around a long time, or girls. I think it makes sense to have relationships with them so that you can have conversations. And like, if I were a football coach, and let's say I've been watching the film all week, and we're playing up against a defensive, you know, let's say our defensive front's going up against an offensive line that I think's pretty grabby. You know, I'm watching the film and I'm going, man, they're kind of getting outside the shoulder pads there. That probably could have been a holding call. When I go to the officials before the game, like, look, I'm not going to do it like putting pressure on them, like, hey, you better give me some calls, but I'm going to say, hey, man, 71, just give him a look, man. Looks like he's pretty grabby. Like, be watching for that. If you plant that idea in an official's head, it's human nature to think that they're going to see it and then go, oh, yeah, maybe that is what that is. Now, look, maybe some officials are so, like, wanting to be down the middle on it, and they're going to go, just because you said that to me, I'm not going to call it. Like, I guess that's possible, and there's different referees. They're humans, right? We still got to remember that. But I wonder if that's a little bit of what Mike Brown's doing here. Is like saying, hey, let's go ahead and be very aware of what's happening before Game 4 so that I don't have to catch up on trying to explain to you that we're getting fouled down low and you're not calling it. You know what I mean? Same way, like, I never understand. If you have a special trick play that's maybe a little bit of a rule, you know, walking the line on the rules, in football, I'd 100% go to the officials beforehand and say, hey, I'm just letting you know, like a surprise onside kick. And I think Peyton did that, right? I think Peyton had told the official, like, hey, I just want y'all to know, I don't know if we're going to do it, but we've got this in the bag. Like, don't be caught off guard. Because, yeah, you want the other team to be caught off guard, but you don't want the officials to be caught off guard and make the wrong call. So you go, hey, I got this thing. Like, I just want you to know. I've always thought that, too. Like, now they're popular, so it doesn't really become questioned. But when the jet touch passes became popular in football, right, where a receiver comes in motion and you're catching it and basically tossing it forward. The reason they started doing that instead of handing it off is that if you somehow fumble the exchange and drop it, well, it's technically an incomplete pass. I'd have gone to a ref and been like, hey, I just want you to know, we're going to do this play where we're going to bring a guy in motion, we're going to toss him the football. I just want you to know so that you're not surprised when you see it. It is a forward pass, so if it drops, it should be ruled incomplete. Like, so anyway, some of the things I think about, probably not what most fans think about, but, you know, try to get that next level stuff. One day, maybe I'll be a coach, and maybe all this stuff will come to fruition. Until then, I'll keep talking about it on the radio. All right, we'll take a time out. Greg Burke joins us. We'll talk Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the class, the induction ceremony, the weekend of events up in Natchitoches. It's a really cool event. If you're interested in going, it's the end of the month. You've got time to get plans together. So Greg Burke will join us after this timeout. You're listening to the LohDown on a Tuesday. Stay tuned.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros needed an extra inning to beat the Los Angeles Angels 5-4 last night in Anaheim. In the top of the 10th, Jose Altuve scored the go-ahead run on a shallow sacrifice fly by Jake Myers after Angels catcher Logan O'Hoppe couldn't handle the throw at the plate. The Astros and the Angels will continue their series tonight, and it'll be Kaiwei Ting for Houston against Walbert Urania for the Angels. First pitch is set for 8:38 tonight, and you can hear the game on News Talk 98.5 FM and 1520 AM. The San Antonio Spurs took Game 3 in the Garden last night, 115-111 over the New York Knicks. Victor Wembanyama led San Antonio with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Jalen Brunson scored 32 of his own for the Knicks. The finals will stay in New York for Game 4 Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. at MSG. The college football world was buzzing yesterday after a judge ruled Texas Tech transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby eligible to play this season. The NCAA filed an appeal later in the day, but there's no guarantee that the case will be resolved before the season begins. In response, several college athletic directors have publicly criticized the ruling, and reports indicate that some Big 12 schools have even discussed not playing Texas Tech in football this season. And Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be the second game in a row in Sin City, with the Golden Knights holding a 2-1 lead over the Hurricanes. Carolina is a 1.5 goal favorite over Vegas, and puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Acadiana area businesses. Is it time to make an impact? Time for more traffic, more engagement, time for more customers? Then it's time to make a splash with Bass. Bass is now offering digital marketing, indoor and outdoor digital signage, billboards, and video production to help you reach more customers and close more business. For over 30 years, Bass has helped our customers tell their story. Bass Companies. Remember, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Advertise with Bass. Find us around Acadiana or at bassltd.com.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game, so I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Louisiana at highschoolofficials.com.
It's hurricane season, and Mid-South Power Solutions wants you and your family to be prepared. Protect your home from sudden power outages with a Generac automatic standby generator, the industry leader. Installed by the experts at Mid-South Power Solutions, the Generac automatic standby generator start up during power failures, keeping your home powered until the local utility restores service. Remember, installing a standby generator is not a do-it-yourself project. Mid-South Power Solutions factory-trained technicians meet the highest standards. Don't get caught in the dark. Visit Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley or at midsouthpowersolutions.com. Mid-South Power Solutions. Your power, our priority.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. He's supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you. But he likes you, Barney.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Back here on the LohDown, we have a special guest with us. It's our friend Greg Burke of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Every year, the LSHOF inducts a new class, and it's become a little tradition for us on the show that every year we have Greg Burke on to talk about the event, the class, and more. So first off, Greg, thank you for rejoining us here on the show.
Well, thank you, and appreciate the opportunity.
So, as per usual here, we have a great class. You've got some local connections here in the Lafayette area with Jonathan Lucroy, who also had his number retired by the Cajuns, so he's certainly been in the news a good bit. Joe Horn's a name that obviously a lot of people are going to know as a Saints player. But as always, there's some really cool, different stories that people might not know as much about mixed in there with others. Like, just talk about the class a little bit this year and, kind of how unique it is every year to have such a nice variety.
Yes, I'll start by saying, as always, it's a great class. It's a diverse class in terms of sports and eras and things of that nature. But really what's interesting is each of the inductees, they have their own story. And in some cases, as you indicated, there are stories that are – a lot of people know Joe Horn. I mean, every time I bring up Joe Horn's name, people want to talk about him scoring a touchdown and digging the cell phone out of the goalpost pad and making a call and getting penalized for it and all that stuff. And there are people, like you said, in Southwest Louisiana, Jonathan Lucroy's name is huge. And, of course, it's huge in Milwaukee. I mean, some voters have named him the best catcher in the history of the Brewers organization, and John Brady taking LSU to the Final Four, and Sylvia Fowles taking all four of her LSU teams to the Final Four and then winning 4 gold medals. But then, you get to somebody like Dwayne Strother, girls basketball coach at Florian High School in Sabine Parish, is the winningest girls high school basketball coach in Louisiana history. And he's the second winningest girls basketball coach in the United States ever. And the stories like that don't sometimes get told unless somebody like Coach Strother gets, who I've known for a lot of years. He's a Northwestern State guy as well. But until they get into the Hall of Fame, their stories kind of stay in Sabine Parish, as an example. So every one of these inductees, they have a story to tell. There are things. I mean, Warren Morris, who everybody right away, the first thing you think about with Warren, and they should, is the walk-off home run to win the 1996 World Series. But I mean, Warren played on Team USA. He did a lot of other things for baseball. I mean, heck, he was third in Rookie of the Year voting his first year in the major leagues. Things like that kind of get glazed over, and they kind of get lost in the shuffle. I mentioned this one just because I just think it's I'm an old SID. I don't know if you knew that or not, Dawson,
course,
but
yes.
I'm an old SID. So stats, but Todd McClure, first-team All-American center at LSU, played 14 years for the Falcons. But in 14 seasons, he averaged less than 2 penalties per season. Wow. As an offensive lineman, the guys that hold, that get illegal procedure call or illegal lineman downfield, less than 2 penalties per season for 14 seasons. Either he's the craftiest guy in the world, or the most covert guy in the world, or he just was one heck of a lineman that he didn't have to get outside the rules to do it the right way. I mean, that stat with me when I read it, I just kept reading it over and over. So everybody has a great story, and that's what's so cool about this.
And what about another one that people might not quite know as much about as some of the others that you do, of course, in Mike McConaughey?
Sure. Mike, if Mike had never coached, and I'm pretty sure this is still the case, he's one of the top 5 players in Louisiana Tech men's basketball history. And, of course, oh, by the way, on that list also is Karl Malone. and gosh, I just drew a blank on another one, but I mean, shoot, Paul, and I'm embarrassing myself on the air, but they've had some great players through there. And Mike, he could have stood on those laurels alone, but no, all he did
Paul
was
Millsap,
go coach at Airline, and then coached at Bossier Parish Community College for 16 years, and then came to Northwestern State for 22, and is now the winningest college basketball coach in state history.
Yeah, no, it is impressive. And as I said, that's one thing I enjoy about this every year is kind of learning a lot more about some of the stories I haven't heard, in addition to, like, you know, more context, right? And more stuff about the ones you do know, even when the Drew Breeses of the world go in. So the other thing that we always like to talk to you about, Greg, is how great this entire weekend is. We've talked about the growth of it, the museum, and everything that Natchitoches has done continuously. So I understand it's another very full weekend of events coming up in late June. And we can kind of go a little bit on each one of them. Let's start with, you know, the early part of the week on Thursday, the kickoff celebration. What's that entail?
Well, it's a welcome reception. It's at the museum. As I say this every year. I think it's the most underrated event of the weekend because it's at the museum. You don't have to pay to go. So if you've never been to the museum before, I mean, if you walked in this afternoon, you're going to pay not much, $5-6, but it's open to the public from 5 to 7, and it's complimentary hors d'oeuvres, complimentary refreshments. The inductees are there, and I've said this as well. It's something I always want to say. The inductees, for the most part, they've been great. They don't go stand in a corner. They don't go hide. They're very visible. They want to interact. They want to hear people tell them, "Oh, I remember seeing you when you did this or when you did that." It's 5 to 7. It's a great, like, for the local folks. It's a great stop on the way home, but to me, like I said, it's very, very underrated because you get to get up close and personal with the inductees, and you get to go to the museum as well.
It is very cool for sure. In addition to that, so like I want to make sure we give at least a little bit on each one of these events. So the Bowling Bash, which I know has grown over the last couple of years, and the Taste of Tailgating. What's going on Friday night?
Sure. The bowling's growing. We used to do golf. Now we do golf. We do golf events still in the spring and in the fall, but it's customarily pretty hot, so to turn into a bowling event in Alexandria, very popular. And then on Friday night, we kind of have a dual event. It's called the Taste of Tailgating, which is a ticketed event up on the bricks in historic Natchitoches at Mama's Oyster House. And then down on the riverbank, which is totally open to the public from 6 to 10, the Rockin' River Fest, 2 bands, kids zone, food booths. At 9 o'clock, our CEO, Ronnie Rance, introduces the class on the stage, and then there's a fireworks show. So it's a great night, a great community night, a great family night. And it's, again, open to the public at no charge.
The main event, Saturday, you've got, in addition to the actual induction ceremony, which, of course, kind of goes without saying, there's also the lunch with Tim Brando event. So Saturday's pretty cool as well.
Right, yeah, we kick it off on the Northwestern State campus with the kids, we call it the junior training camp, kids ages 7 to 17. Once again, all the inductees are there. Great chance if you're a young girl and you like to play basketball, well, here's Sylvia Fowles. And Sylvia Fowles is going to dribble. She's going to work with you on your shot, things like that. Then, yeah, you go to the roundtable luncheon, which Tim Brando hosts, and nobody does it better. I mean, Tim is so good off the cuff. Mm-hmm. He knows so many facts, just can pull them out of the air. But he brings 2 inductees at a time up on the stage and does a very extemporaneous interview. And to me, you really get to know them on a more personal level because it's not scripted. The induction ceremony's got to be scripted because it's on TV. There's time constraints and things. But the roundtable luncheon is a little more up close and personal look. And then, as you said, then you morph into the main event, which starts with a reception once again at the museum. Doesn't cost. It's a ticketed event, but the ticket includes going to the reception from 5 to 6:45 at the museum, and then walk 1 block to the event center, and from 7 to 9:30 is the actual induction ceremony, which I'm remiss if I don't mention is broadcast for the 2nd year in a row live on the Louisiana Public Broadcast Channel.
I know you, as you said, it's time slotted. You got to make sure these things run on time. You got an early candidate for who you're concerned about that's going to put you over the time limit this year? Or we think all the candidates are going to be ready to roll?
Hey, this thing, I'm telling you, it's minute to minute, and we're gonna stay. That's the thing about it is it doesn't end at 9:31. I mean,
Yeah.
It ends at 9:30. That's when it's going to end, and everybody does a good job. I mean, Matt Moscona, Lynn Rollins has done this before. They do interviews on the stage as opposed to the inductees giving I guess an address for being inducted. They kind of get to do a little bit more dialogue, and it's when I say it's scripted, I mean we want to let them talk about what they want to talk about who, more importantly, they want to talk about. And the inductees are always so humble regarding the people that helped them along the way. But you got to stay on track. And it's gone really, really well. Like I said, last year, it wasn't like we got to 9:30 and it's like, oh my gosh, we didn't get everything done. It went very, very well. Yet at the same time, I think we were efficient with people's time.
It is also, for those who have maybe never done it and have debated about it, going up to Natchitoches for the whole weekend, as you said, what do you think people's kind of general reaction once they finally do it is to you? As I said, obviously you know how special the event is, and people who have gone have said it. But what do you think? What's the most common thing you hear from people who do finally go, you know what, I'm going to make a weekend out of it and go experience this whole thing?
Well, I'll put it this way: the inductees, so many times, and not that they didn't expect or they under-expected, but gosh, the inductees and their families at the end of the weekend, and that's our primary goal. I mean, number one, we want our visitors from wherever, as well as the locals, to enjoy it. But the top priority is these 12 inductees and their families leave on Sunday morning feeling like, I don't think I could have been honored any better anywhere else. And when they say that, I think then you can definitely say that Natchitoches is a great place to visit anyway. I mean, it's a great tourist town. There's a lot of things in the downtown area, and then you put on top of that, if you're a sports fan at all, you put on top of that an opportunity to be a part of something like this, to listen to these inductees. Like I said already, the event on the riverbank on Friday night. It's just a fun event. I just think if people haven't done it, I think they're going to leave with the same reaction that the inductees always leave with. My gosh, this was fantastic. I'm glad I did it. Would love to I'd do it all over again.
For those who have kind of gotten that itch and want to go, what's the best place for people to get tickets, get information, everything they need to know?
Just log on to our website, lasportshall.com. And you log on to the website, you can't miss it. I mean, it's right where it should be, front and center, and you can click on the weekend schedule. Then you can click on any event you want to attend. You can buy tickets online. And once again, I think what's really important is to stress, and I kind of have, Dawson, but of the 7 events over 3 days, 3 of them are open to the public without charge. And that's intentional. I mean, the foundation, and I need to stress this as well, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation invests over $100,000 into induction weekend to make it a first-class event. But at the same time, and we recoup that money with sponsorships and tickets and table sales and things of that nature. But we also don't want the event to be exclusive to where people from around the state, people especially locally from Natchitoches, feel like, gosh, I want to experience this, but I got a family of 5 or whatever. I can't afford to do it. There are opportunities throughout the 3-day induction weekend to be a part of it at no cost.
Greg, appreciate you for doing this. As always, thank you for giving us more information. And I know it's a big time of the year for you all, so thank you, and we look forward to it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Take care.
It's Greg Burke with the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, once again chatting with us about the induction ceremony. It is the end of the month, this month, as he mentioned, LA Sports Hall. The website has everything, as he alluded to. I've been clicking around on it throughout the interview as well, and he's right. It's pretty easy to find. There's kind of no hiding it. So any information you want to get, it's lasportshall.com. They've got tickets on there. They've got information about the candidates, the inductees, I should say, stuff about the Hall of Fame in general. Obviously, if you're interested in donating, all those things, you can find them lasportshall.com. All right, we'll do this. We'll take one final time out today. We will wrap up the show on the other side of the break. We'll get to a couple other things that are pending in the world of sports, and we'll send you on to AFR. It is ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station. Stay tuned.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you this hurricane safety tip. Remember, it is officially hurricane season. I've been seeing it. It's never fun to track these storms, but we know it's going to happen, and the best thing you can do is be ready because we know usually, unfortunately, in this part of the country, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So make sure to secure your home and bring in outdoor items. Have an emergency kit with water, food, and medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with a battery-powered radio, and remember, safety is in your hands. Your hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley, your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Lafayette Stars and Stripes is back and bigger than ever as America celebrates its 250th anniversary. Join us Friday, July 4th at Park International in downtown Lafayette for a night of patriotic fun. Gates open at 5 p.m. with live music by Sold Out and Rusty Matuire and the Zydeco Crush, along with delicious food trucks, family activities, local vendors, and plenty of surprises. Then, look to the sky for a spectacular fireworks finale at 9:30 p.m. Free admission presented by Lafayette Utility System, LFT Fiber, and Delta Media.
Slimco members, it's better than ever. The 89th annual Slimco membership meeting, June 13th. Doors open at 6 a.m. Music starts at 6:30 with an 8 a.m. $3,000 bill credit giveaway. It's your chance to win one of 17 incredible prizes, including the grand prize. Your choice of a 2026 car, truck, SUV, or $30,000 cash, plus $40,000 in college scholarships Saturday, June 13th. The 89th annual Slimco membership meeting, Cajun Dome. Slimco is an equal opportunity employer and provider.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
What is dementia? Is it the same as Alzheimer's? What is vascular dementia, Lewy body, FTD, TBI, and CTE? If someone has memory loss, does that mean they have dementia? Millions of Americans ask these questions every day. I did too, and I learned. My wife Ginny developed dementia. I didn't know what to do or what was coming next. I'm Kevin Jameson, volunteer and president of the Dementia Society of America. I'm excited to offer you a free guide to understanding dementia. It's filled with facts about dementia, care planning, how doctors can help, and ways to keep your brain as healthy as possible. The Dementia Society of America is a national nonprofit, and we're ready to answer your questions. You want to live life to the fullest. I know that. Ginny did too, and I'm confident that we can help. Get your copy of the guide. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Thank you.
You're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
We're back here on the LohDown. Appreciate our friend Greg Burke talking Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame with us there in the prior segment. Always a great event that happens in late June over there in the wonderful city of Natchitoches. So I said there was a couple of things. I wanted to give this a shout out. Yesterday was the longest day in golf, they call it. So if you're unfamiliar, the United States Open tournament happens next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. It is one of the coolest things about it is it is, in fact, an open tournament. You say, sometimes you go, hey, the U.S. Open, but what does that mean? You and I can try to qualify for the U.S. Open. And if we play well enough in a couple different tournaments, we'd be in it, right? You play in a sectional qualifier, what they call it, pay a registration fee. You got to play. If you place in, a certain number of spots, it's all divided up, how many spots are available, things of that nature. Then you move on to an official U.S. Open qualifier. They have, I think, 13 of them that took place yesterday. They call it the longest day in golf because they are all 36-hole events. They are played in one day. So you show up in the morning, you tee off, you play 18 holes, you get about an hour in between, or depending how much time, whenever your two tee times are, and then you play the same course again, 18 more holes, and it's a 2-round tournament, basically. The spots are divided. It depends. So they had 13 of them. One of them was in Japan this year, which I thought was a little strange. One of them was in England. One of them was in Canada. The rest were at the other 10 were all at different spots around the United States. So you get assigned to one of these. And here's the thing. As I said, like you and I could try to qualify for this. But there's also a lot of tour pros, a lot of names you would know, like a lot of names you would really know that aren't exempt into the U.S. Open because they aren't, whether it's top 50 in official world golf ranking or the money list or have won an event. Max Homa, Kevin Kisner, there's a lot of guys that you'd probably know the name of that were playing in in U.S. Open qualifiers yesterday around the country. There's also some up-and-coming college players. Arnie Svensson from LSU was able to qualify and make it through. And Golf Channel actually now does coverage of this event. It's really, really cool. So they went around to these. And basically what happens is, depending on how many players are in a given field, there's a certain number of spots and then a certain number of alternate spots, like dedicated to the U.S. Open, right? And so, some places have 4 spots available. Some have 6, anywhere, from I'd say 3 to 8 spots potentially. Well, a lot of times you have ties, so then you have a playoff. And sometimes you have a playoff for a certain number of spots. So Max Homa was playing in one of these yesterday. He was in an 8-for-3 playoff. There were 8 players tied for the last qualifying spot and 3 spots available to give out. So basically they play sudden death, and you play a hole. And if you are, if you're the lowest score, then you have a shot to actually qualify through right there. Or if there's, 4 players that tie with a birdie, well, then those 4 go to the next hole. Everyone else is eliminated, and now those 4 players are playing for the 3 spots remaining, right? Max Homa did not make it in, actually, and he's probably one of the biggest names that wasn't qualified that was trying to qualify yesterday. He did not make it, though. He missed out. He made a bogey on his first playoff hole, so he didn't get in. But one of the coolest stories, I thought, Miles Russell, Florida State golfer, teammates about to be with Charlie Woods, right? You know him, the son of, that guy, Tiger. So Miles Russell made it through to U.S. Open qualifiers, and Charlie Woods was his caddy yesterday. He said, hey, Charlie, buddy, can you carry my bag? And Charlie said, sure. So they played, and guess what? Miles Russell made it. He qualified into the U.S. Open. He had to get through a playoff to do so, and he made it. There was a great video of him hugging Charlie after the fact. So now Miles Russell, what I think he's like an 18 or 19-year-old freshman at Florida State, is going to play in the U.S. Open next weekend. There is a lot of speculation about whether or not Charlie will caddy for him there. I hope he does. I think it'd be awesome. Talk about a cool moment in memory for those guys. But that's how cool the longest day in golf is. And I know our guy Ralph was probably all over it yesterday as well. My friend Dan Bradbury, who we've had on the show before, who went to Florida State the same time I did, he played in the qualifier in England and fell 1 shot short. I was tracking his round. I was devastated, man. He almost got in. He fell a shot short, though. There were a bunch of other LSU players, I think a couple UL guys who tried to qualify as well. But it's just really, really cool. You've got a mixture, too, of maybe a guy who just is a really good golfer that plays recreationally, who maybe had an incredible weekend at sectionals, and then that guy all of a sudden could be paired up with Max Homa, playing around that if the day goes his way, he could be playing in the U.S. Open. It's how cool it is, right? So, I mean, when I say you or I will, don't worry, I will never be playing in a sectional qualifier because I will never be good enough at golf for that to be a conversation. But I got a buddy of mine who I've caddied for before who still plays in tournaments competitively now and again. And we've thrown around the idea, and I'd be on the bag for him. Be awesome. Imagine that. Imagine getting to play in the U.S. Open because you had 4 or 5 really good rounds of golf. And that's technically possible if you're a stick and you can, make a bunch of birdies and go nuclear one day. All right, so I wanted to shout that out. Anyway, that is the end of our show today. Appreciate our guest list. It was a unique one today, no doubt about it. We started it off with the mayor. Thank you to Monique Boulay for joining us. And then we finished it off with our friend Ken Burke, talking Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We have got a great guest list already lined up for you. Some different topics we're going to get into. I'm excited for that. We'll be talking World Cup tomorrow. We'll debut something a little new in honor of the World Cup as it's just about set to get going. Our guy BP is going to be featured on the show. We got a lot going on tomorrow, so stick around. Rejoin us, same places in the same time slot. For now, though, AFR is next.
Everybody's talking about the big, beautiful bill, and it's game-changing for taxpayers. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. We've read the bill, and if you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and get it resolved. This new legislation could give you a chance to get things straight with the IRS. Whether it's getting caught up on unfiled returns or negotiating IRS debts, there are a lot of new deductions and opportunities in the big, beautiful bill, and the Bryson Law Firm knows how to use them strategically. We've been staying on top of the tax changes in the big, beautiful bill, and we're ready to help our clients take full advantage. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm. The Bryson Law Firm. LSP filing number LA2519079.
Let's try something new, like not overloading your outlets. Up next, from Mr. Electric. You know that power strip and your extension cord? They are not a permanent lifestyle choice.